Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I go over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. We usually start off with emulator news, but there wasn't anything major that I could find, so instead, let's talk about something that's affecting pretty much all of us. Discord is starting to roll out ads in the form of quests, and this is a bit annoying because Discord has always been really against ads inside of any sort of platform. And they've said it in the past. They found them intrusive. They didn't like them. They like their business plan right now of just doing Nitro and monthly and all of that. So it's a bit weird that they've decided to just start doing ads, and they're not really ads in the normal sense. They're basically, they want you to go ahead and watch your friends playing a game or streaming, and you kind of complete that quest, and that's the advertisement. It's kind of a weird one, but it's still an ad in a simple way. Their point against it being ads is that you get in-game rewards for doing this, but again, this isn't Discord just giving you Discord items for doing it. It is Discord connecting with a game and then the game giving you items for doing it on Discord. So still an ad. I have to be honest, after the horrible redesign of their app earlier this year, I am still actually on the older version of Discord on my phone because I can't deal with that new update. It's kind of a slippery slope, and it seems like Discord might be going down a very bad road here, and I'm hoping that this will be the last in their changes, but we know they won't. Moving on to device news now, and the PlayStation Portal, which I don't know if you remember, but I showed it off as hacked a few weeks ago. You could play PSP games on it from the developer The Flow Zero, and he showed it off on Twitter and just showed what was possible. Well, since then, he has decided to report that vulnerability to Sony. So you will never be able to do what he did, and it's been patched now. Sony's already done that. So as of right now, on the PlayStation Portal, still can't hack it, custom firmware, can't do anything else besides what it was meant for. So keep that in mind. Some more Sony news now, and this one comes from PS5 Pro news. So we got some more updates on their enhanced label and what they'll be doing with it. And for those that don't know, Sony's going to be basically labeling games that work on the PS5 Pro in certain capacities as enhanced. And I'll go over what that looks like. Now, they tried the same thing with the PS4 Pro, for people that don't remember. They did it way back when, and it was enhanced as well, and it was meant to be for games that were getting a benefit from using the PS4 Pro, and it looks like they're bringing that back here for the PS5 Pro. So let's talk about what you need to have your game labeled as enhanced. There needs to be one of three things first, and it's using PSSR to increase the resolution to 4K. And remember again, PSSR is that PlayStation upscaling technology that they're going to be using on the PS5 Pro. So it's native to them, and it's basically like a DLSS or an XESS, and all of that we see on our computers and on our PC. Otherwise, the game has to have a constant 60 FPS, and it has to have either increased or added ray tracing effects. But they'll also give you the enhanced label if it hits any of the following: increasing the resolution of games that are currently running a fixed resolution. So if the game is running at a 720p and now it runs at a 1080p, congratulations, you got enhanced. Increasing the target maximum resolution for games that run variable right now. So for a lot of games that were running that kind of checkerboard or running from 540p to 720p, depending on the scene and all that sort of thing, if you're increasing that, then great, you have enhanced. Increasing the target frame rate for games that are fixed lower. So if you were running at a 30 FPS and now you're running at a 40 or a 60, you get that enhanced label as well. And lastly, just including PlayStation 5 Pro's ray tracing effects. That'll get you the label too. So that is a lot of different ways that you can get an enhanced label on the PS5 Pro. Kind of meaning to me that the vagueness of it and the not really stringent requirements it's going to be on every single game at this point. I can't imagine that it's not going to be on a lot of different titles, and it's kind of going to dilute the whole purpose of the enhanced label. So keep an eye out for that. Although I have said it before, and I'll say it again, for me, if the PS5 Pro can get to a constant 60 for a lot of games, or a constant 40 for a lot of games, or a constant 4K, and all of this sort of things, because right now for the PS5, you are kind of on the cusp for a lot of it. You'll play a lot of games that just are bouncing back and forth. And for me, Final Fantasy 16 was the last one that I remember at launch, just having a terrible performance mode. It was bouncing back and forth between frame rates and it didn't feel great. So if we can upgrade some of these games to just get constant 60, I would be very happy with that. But the problem is what ends up happening is developers get access to more power, they push it further, and instead of just developing for 4K 60, they try and go further than that, or they'll try and go past it. And then frame rate ends up being wonky, resolution ends up being wonky. So hopefully, because games are already out and they're just upgrading them here with little patches and things like that, we might see some benefit. Then we got some more Miyoo A30 news here, and quite a bit, actually. So first up, we got a new picture showing the device, and it's compared to the Miyoo Mini and the Miyoo Mini Plus, to give you an idea of the size of it and the screen and all of that sort of thing. We do find out that, yeah, it is the exact same screen as the one from the Miyoo Mini, and it looks like the version 4, and it's a smaller device, but it still has those awesome D-pad and buttons. But that wasn't all. We actually got a full video on YouTube with gameplay, playing a whole bunch of different games, and doesn't really tell you that much, but kind of what we expected. It looks like everything up to PlayStation 1, and some PlayStation 1 is going to be where this lives, like the original Miyoo Mini and Miyoo Mini Plus. But then, thanks to T-Gecko from the RGH server, we were able to find out a lot more, such as dimensions and information on the buttons and D-pad and all of that. If you were waiting for dimensions, here they are. It's 127.5 millimeters by 57 millimeters by 16 millimeters. And you can just pull out a ruler to see where that fits. Apparently the front plate might be swappable, so I don't know if Miyoo's going to be selling them or maybe we'll get some third-party options, but that's a cool option too. And also the D-pad and buttons are almost identical to the Miyoo Mini Plus, but they're not 100%, so you can't just swap them, which means probably a lot of mods and a lot of 3D printing and things that were already done for the Miyoo Mini Plus will have to be converted to the A30. Then lastly, there is no support for modern USB chargers, so I'm guessing that means USB-C, which kind of expected, but it sucks to see. Honestly, I am actually pretty excited. The only thing I need confirmed is there Wi-Fi or not? And I'm really hoping there's Wi-Fi, but we'll find out in a few weeks when this arrives and we'll go from there. Not much more to say about it. We talked a little bit more about it last week, so let's move on. In KTR1 news, and yeah, that KTR1, we are supposed to be getting new buttons and a D-pad as of the 10th of April, or around there, from what the creator Nil has said. For those that aren't in the loop on this, the KTR1 is famously known for having not great controls on the D-pad and button side. So the creator Nil decided a while ago to come up with a new solution, and then he's going to be selling it to users. So you'll be able to get new D-pad and new buttons if you're an owner of a KTR1, and you just have to purchase it from the website. Now, this has been months and months and months, so almost every month we've had an update that it's coming next month. Looks like this time it actually might stick, and you should be able to see something in a few days. The device itself is actually not for sale from the creator directly right now. The only way you can get it is from an authorized reseller on eBay, but that still has the old stock. So it's the old buttons, the old D-pad, and everything else. Apparently, it's going to be going up for sale again when everything is all settled with, from what I understand, a new screen and these new buttons and D-pad and all of that. So if you've been waiting for that, then maybe keep an eye out. Not sure what the pricing will be. It cannot be the same pricing that it used to be because that just does not make sense anymore in today's market. So I'll be interested in seeing what they listed at. But we do know that Nil is focused on the KTR2 because he's brought it up a lot of times, and also KOS, which is basically an operating system for the KTR1 and I'm guessing the KTR2. In either event, we should know more in a few days, and I'll keep you up to date as soon as I know more about any successors or replacements and pricing and all of that. Have I talked about how awesome the TrimUI Smart Pro is? Did you know that it was available for around 50-ish US dollars on AliExpress for just the awesomest device that you could get for $50? I'll leave a link if you want it, but it's only getting better, and this week's news shows that. Update 1.0.4 rolled out this week, and it's a pretty big one. They added Bluetooth audio, and I tested it, and it actually works really great. There is now Vulkan support for PSP and others, and I tested this as well, and it's a little bit limited. I did find that OpenGL in a lot of scenarios was coming out ahead, but this is a first attempt, so we should see a lot more improvement as they update, and Vulkan should get better and better. There's a media player if you're that crazy person that uses it to play media, and there's also Moonlight streaming, which, again, I don't know who doesn't like Moonlight, but being able to stream games on more devices is awesome, and you have that here. Then there's a bunch more updates, and I'll leave the patch notes so you can check them out. But the big news of the week, on top of that, is that we're getting Portmaster support for the TrimUI Smart Pro. And it's actually available right now in an alpha/beta form if you want it from Cloptops, who's the developer. So if you want to jump into that and you want to try it, then feel free to go ahead. But it keeps getting better and better. Acme Plus, the developer of Batacera on the RG35XX Plus and H, was able to get Emulation Station booting off an SD card for the TrimUI Smart Pro, meaning we might be able to see some sort of custom firmware in the future, or maybe it's just a front end. But either way, it's going to be months and months. It's not anywhere near a release, but it's really cool to see all of this work being done on the TrimUI Smart Pro. As the original shill for this device and the original person that remembered seeing the potential that this had and how good it was at release 2, I'm really excited to see all of this work being done and just see the TrimUI Smart Pro get better and better. If my videos have been helping you, consider supporting me on Patreon or just give this video a like and a sub. Both or either work, and they help my videos get better and better. Jumping into game news now, and The Outer Worlds, Spacer's Choice Edition, and Thief are both free on Epic Games Store for you this week. So, if you like free games, go pick them up. Likely the biggest news of the week for a lot of people, but Hollow Knight Silksong is finally coming. And it's up for a wish list on the Xbox platform, and I did see it on Steam as well. But the game was also rated for Korea. So it means that it's basically in the final stages. We should see a release date and information soon. Not sure what form it's going to take, if it's just an update, if it's just a DLC, if it's a full game, but we should know more in likely a few weeks to a month. I think the funny part about this news is we found it out on April Fool's, so a lot of people assumed it was an April Fool's joke, which would have been in very bad taste, I think, for a lot of people, but it's awesome to see that it was an April Fool's. In more semi-free game news this week, Dave the Diver is coming to PlayStation Plus on April 16th. So if you have PlayStation Plus and you haven't played Dave the Diver, I'm not sure why you haven't played Dave the Diver, but go play Dave the Diver. It is awesome. Then, last on our news for today, Kotaku ran an article based on a report that said that 60% of game time went to 6-year-old or older games. So games like Fortnite and Roblox and Grand Theft Auto 5 and Counter-Strike 2 and all of these games that are now 6 years or older. And I think that makes sense. If you look at a lot of the games that are top selling month to month on Steam, on PlayStation, on Xbox, and anywhere that reports it, a lot of those games are older games, and they're games as a service or games that were really done well, like Fortnite, for example, or GTA and all of that sort of thing, where you have newer modern games just not taking off in that way where you're going to be playing them month over month. A lot of them are single player games, or the newer modern games are just copies of older games and not as good. I thought this was interesting because for us, as retro gamers, 60% of our game time goes towards games that are 20 years or older. So we're in this camp as well. If I look back at the games that I actually play and play consistently, Rocket League stands out to me because I play it quite a bit, and that game is definitely older than 6 years old at this point, so I'm in this camp as well. And I think for you as an audience, if you consider what you're playing normally, I wonder if you are too, and it'd be interesting to see. By the way, did I miss a newscast topic that you wanted me to talk about? Top comment with the words newscast topic will be featured on next week's show. That's all from me, Melbourne.